guest is probably one of my favorite people ever to talk to at this conference, Sandy Jacolow. Thank you so much for being here.
Great to see you.
Great, I've been wonderful. I know that you guys at Silverstein are continuously and ongoingly making moves. First, catch us up. The question I'm going to ask you every time, what are you seeing this year at 2018, Realcomm? What are the trends? What do we need to be keeping our eye on?
Well, I got to tell you, it's about innovation. The tools that we always wanted to do the things that we wanted to do that we can imagine are absolutely out there now. You're seeing it, the floor is crowded, there's a lot of buzz, there's a lot of activity. I mean, it's really...
We didn't have space for all the people who wanted to attend.
I know, and there are so many other smaller startup companies that don't even have the bandwidth to get here right now.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating time where innovation is just outstanding.
You are known as a CIO of obviously one of the most successful companies, and one of the things that I've always been fascinated by, your job is to get people to adopt, to innovate, to stay ahead. What are some of the soft skills, the hard skills that are necessary for a CIO today?
You know, it's funny that you say that. Soft skills are probably the most important thing that we do. You've got to build a spirit of collaboration. You have to really use empathy. You really need to listen, learn, and understand what the pain points are, because if you're going to go out and find a solution, it's got to address an existing problem.
Right.
And you know, when you think about all the startups and the PropTech that are out there, they have to be successful by addressing a problem, because if it's just nice and cool, no one's going to want it, it's going to sit on the shelf.
Do you ever get resistance, not from your tenants, but from your people within the organization going, why do we have to make it so that they can walk in and the lights recognize them and the conference room gets booked? Do you ever get people going, why do we constantly need to be adding more and more value? We have enough on our plate.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I think everybody realizes that change is disruptive at times. So it's our job, talking about soft skills, to minimize the change, minimize the disruption. But what you're seeing now is businesses realize tech is a necessity. It's about driving revenue, reducing costs, or just distinguishing your brand. And I think people are now seeing that because, listen, our competition is everybody from WeWork to the building across the street. You know, and to give you an example, last year we released an SPI wellness app so that people in our commercial buildings can have access to yoga classes, events, and that brings a whole new level of marketing, branding, communication, even just space. We now take space in our buildings and set it aside for amenities, which is something we never used to do before.
Yeah.
And then the information that you start to get from these apps is just phenomenal. It's going to change how you think about running your buildings.
What kind of information?
Well, you're starting to do demographics. All right, you know, for example, when we sign up a yoga class, it gets booked 2 weeks in advance. They sell out like that. We did a LinkedIn new profile picture. So you start to get information about their social media habits by their signing in, so then you know their likes, their dislikes. You can even go as far as when you actually, talk about Facebook, you know what company they work for because everybody puts the company you work with. You can actually get data on them to understand their geographics, their likes, their dislikes, and then you can reposition your marketing when you're starting to look to rent for space. And we do the same thing in our residential properties as well.
So let's take someone in your position 10 years ago. It's you talking to you 10 years ago. Okay. And you're saying to yourself, Sandy, you're not going to believe this, but people would almost rather pay more and have a yoga class and some cereal available in the break room than pay less and have it feel less comfortable, right? Would that be?
10 years ago, that was the case.
Right.
Absolutely.
So now we're 10 years ago looking forward, you go, I can't believe how much the amenities, the amenities are valued far higher than we ever could have imagined.
Absolutely.
And now I'm asking you to look forward to you 10 years from now. What do you think is going to be surprising to us? Where do you see it going? If we have to add more amenities now, what are we going to be needing to add more of 5, 10 years from now?
Well, it's starting now. Amenities are only the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Because it's really about self-service. I'll give you a perfect example. In one of our buildings, we have a major tenant who asked us to install Comfy app in their space, which means it's got to connect to our building management systems.
Comfy app?
Yeah, it basically allows you who's sitting over there to say, I'm a little warm, I want to lower the temperature.
Okay.
I'm here, I'm a little cold, I want to change the temperature. So it's giving you that personalized service that you can have and that customized service. So it's very unique to you. It's almost, think about when you're home. I mean, you want that level of hospitality and service that you see at a hotel.
Right.
And it's bringing that to the commercial office space. With that, you're going to layer on a lot of augmented reality. So you can actually take, we're involved, Redmi did a hackathon last year, and one of the winners was a company called Prescriptive Data Augmented Space. And what you can do is you can take your iPad, hold it up, and I can tell you that that camera is connected to this IP address, here's the owner's manual, so I can do that. And when you think about that and how people work, all right, and you layer on the augmented reality, I can take it in residential and I can actually walk you through a property that's a shell space. We can build a new condominium project and walk you through the space, and you can change the colors of the walls, you can change I want a new stove, and just lay out your furniture. In fact, there are other apps now where if you're looking for an apartment, you can go in and actually not only lay out your furniture, but you can actually click on it and buy the furniture on a lot of major retailers. So you're starting to bring those experiences together to really make it a customized experience.
It almost seems like the implication is we're all going to be, the blur between the line of home and office, it's almost becoming indistinguishable.
Yeah.
Are we going to still use offices?
Always. I mean, the office is changing. I mean, if you look at a lot of the shared space, and we have that with Silver Suites and a lot of the other major company real estate owners do, and you look at WeWork, you need that sense of community, because one of the things that we have found, particularly in Silver Suites, is when you have these diverse set of companies, they end up building a community so they can actually connect, and not only are they selling their products or their services, but they actually have sounding boards and connections that they couldn't make before, right. So it's making them more valuable because they have resources that they could have never gotten if they're just sitting there working at home.
Ultimately, is that what drives you? I mean, I always think about what makes this guy just tick and get up. Is it about community? What fuels your passion for ongoing, constant innovation?
You know, it's the innovation. It is about the user experience. I mean, when you think about it, you know, we spend so much time at work. We want it to be simple, we want it to be easy. You know, for technology to really succeed and add value, it just has to be transparent. You know, something that used to take 2 minutes, let it take 30 seconds now. When you have technology that flips it the other way around and becomes a barrier, it's not going to work. So it's finding creative solutions that take a simple problem and actually just make it better for all of us.
You're just a problem solver.
Oh, I don't know about that. We create our own problems along the way. And, you know, and this challenge with it, it's cybersecurity we have to deal with, and I know, you know, you're just talking to Restore Point. Yeah. I mean, that's a big threat because as people are using their mobile apps, and, you know, you think about Alexa and doing more word control, and, you know, I'll tell you what, have you ever seen the Philips Hue lighting that they sell?
Sure.
Well, now they've actually figured out to do that through Alexa. Right?
Okay,
and
sure.
Your Amazon Echo. So now you walk in and you say, lights on 50% blue.
Yeah.
All right, before you had to take your app out.
Sure.
You had to find the Philips app. You hadn't had a twist of it. So instead of just walking in and turning on the lights, it took you 60 seconds. Now I walk in, I say 50% blue living room. Simple, easy, I've added value. So I've given back more time to do the other things. And for us in real estate, we've got to be able to make the user experience from you walk in. We have another tenant, by way of example, when they walk into the building, they want to be able to have the unique experience start at that moment. I check in, I can say, I want a chai iced latte, and by the time you get up to their space, it's available. So it's connected through Wi-Fi, it's on your app, everything is simple. The minute you walk in the door with facial recognitions, they're going to know who you are before you walk in the door. So the person at the front desk is going to personally say, hi, so-and-so, nice to meet you, and you're going to get that more personalized experience, which is all about brand and reputation.
Is that the final word for this Conference Live of 2018? Personalized, is that it? You've got, we're finishing the thing. I want my people to hear what you have to say about this year in particular.
It's all about innovation, solving existing problems, and making life easier for everybody as we go along, and using technology to do it.
Sandy, thank you so much.
A pleasure as always, sir.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Sandy Jacolow.